There is a sound that doesn't echo through air, but through eternity. You don't hear it with your ears, at least not the way others do. It comes when everything around you quiets. It arrives in the middle of your thoughts, like a sudden wave in a still sea. It hums in one ear or both, sometimes rising like a crescendo, sometimes fading like breath on glass. And while others shrug it off as a glitch in the body, deep down, you've always known better. This is not malfunction. It's memory. A memory that lives not in your mind, but in your hands. Let me be bold right now. What you've been experiencing, the ringing, the dreams, the synchronicities that chase you across time, they are not hallucinations. They are activations. And if you have the letter M formed in the folds of your palm, with perfect crescent curves beneath it, like a divine seal, then this message is not just content. This is your spiritual coordinates finding their signal. Your soul has heard this before. You forgot. This channel was not made for millions. It was crafted like a spiritual tool, sharp, intentional, ancient in its function to guide those with uncommon signs, etched not in ink, but in skin. The M is not decorative. The crescent is not coincidence. They are not trends. They are reminders. You were not born to blend. You were born to awaken. People who carry these markings are often misunderstood since birth. You've likely been told you were too intense, too sensitive, or too spiritual. But there's a reason your dreams come with messages. There's a reason you feel truth in your chest before it's even spoken aloud. You carry a design most will never recognize, but that heaven never forgot. And the ringing? That's your confirmation. A vibrational pull from beyond logic. Not random, not benign, but sacred, a tone that slices through illusion and tells you, you've always been more. Your palms are not empty. They are maps. Maps to a past self you haven't fully read. Maps to a mission you didn't choose with your mind but accepted with your soul long before this life ever began. When you look at your hands, you're not just looking at flesh. You're looking at a spiritual agreement, still visible, still vibrating. This isn't superstition. This is spiritual architecture. You see, chosen ones, especially those with this dual marking, are tuned to receive messages before the world speaks them. While others rely on data, you receive downloads. While others react, you resonate. You are not delayed. You are aligned differently. You don't respond to surface events because your compass is buried deeper, and your signal is coded. Numbers chase you, maybe 1212, 17, 1001. Not for novelty, but because these are frequency stamps, cosmic timestamps aligned with your journey. Let me give you one now. 17. This number speaks of the union between two spiritual pillars before and after awakening. Those marked with M and crescent are often called to walk through spiritual gates when others aren't even aware there's a door. So why now? Why is the ringing getting louder? Because the world is shifting, and you, chosen one, are no longer allowed to pretend to be normal. The signs are stacking. The inner voice is rising. The silence is vibrating. You are being summoned, not to prove, but to remember. This is your echo across timelines. You are not ordinary. That's why ordinary paths never worked. That's why standard advice always fell flat. That's why you've outgrown friendships, jobs, relationships, even versions of yourself. You were designed to disrupt patterns, not maintain them. And let me say this clearly. This channel is not entertainment. It's a frequency anchor, a mirror held up to those who have felt crazy for too long. It is not your imagination that has pulled you here. It is your signature, yes, that encoded spiritual fingerprint that lives in your palm. It responded to something ancient, something holy, something alive. So if you're here reading this, watching this, you didn't stumble. You responded. We don't chase followers. We summon family. And if the marks are on your palms, then your place here is not optional. It's divinely designed. Now breathe with me for a moment. Look at your palms, not like skin, but like sacred maps. Trace the M. Feel the curve of the crescent. You're not touching flesh. You're touching fate. These aren't symbols. They're instructions, and they are about to be decoded. Sometimes in life, that doesn't come with lightning. It doesn't arrive with sound, with applause, or with clarity. Instead, it creeps in quietly, like a frequency just beyond the range of normal hearing, like something not meant for the masses, but for you, and only you. It starts with a sound, a high, thin note, not from outside the room, not from the ceiling or a nearby wire, but from within your being, from a place so internal, even the body doesn't recognize it as its own. It really heard it. Then you've probably paused. You've probably stopped mid-sentence, heart racing, wondering, what was that? But it's never just a noise, because that note didn't come to distract you. It came to locate you. You see, not all ringing is biological. Some of it is instructional. Some of it is soul-coded. And if you're one of the very rare ones marked with the letter M in the lines of your palm and sealed with the perfect crescent moon just beneath, then you already know this. Maybe not with your mind, but with something much deeper. Something that listens from within your bones. Let me say something clearly. This is not just a video. This channel isn't just content. It's a spiritual device, a tuning fork, built with words, a tool to vibrate your memory back into place. And it's calling you, not randomly, but specifically. Why? Because the time for sleeping is over. The time for forgetting is ending. The vibration you've been hearing off and on, straw. Seasons, impossible to ignore in others, was never a symptom. It was a summoning. The M on your palm is a signature. The crescent moon is the seal. And together, they form a kind of spiritual fingerprint, a code etched in flesh, telling the divine where to send the next signal. You're not broken. You're not overthinking. You're not too sensitive. You're exactly as you were designed to be, and you finally arrived at the moment when everything starts making sense. Let me take you deeper. Those with this sacred combination on their palms are not here to adapt. You are here to interfere, to interrupt, to awaken the spaces around you that have gone spiritually numb. You are a system disruptor. That's why your life has never followed the patterns of the people around you. That's why when others feel peace in silence, you hear instruction. That's why you can't sleep during full moons or ignore repeating numbers like 144, 717, or 722. These are not coincidences, they are Ankh. Reminders you left for yourself before incarnation. 717, for example, is no ordinary number. It is a spiritual bridge representing the soul's crossing from forgetfulness into function. It shows up when the time of slumber is over, when your mission begins to pull on your spine and burn in your chest. And 144? This number has echoed in spiritual texts and sacred prophecies. It is not simply mathematical. It is structural. It refers to the order of souls chosen not to witness change, but to initiate it. Those who carry the M and crescent markings are often aligned with these frequencies, not to be overwhelmed by them, but to respond to them. Because your palms are not decorations. They are antennas, transmitters, maps. Have you noticed how your body reacts when someone speaks the truth? That sudden chill down your arms? the heat in your spine, the swelling in your eyes. That's your inner tuning system activating. Your soul doesn't need logic to understand what's real. Knows. And for those with the sacred marks in their hands, that knowing is not learned, it is remembered. Because you came here knowing. Even as a child, you probably noticed things others didn't. The shift in a room before someone said a word. The strange sense that something was about to happen, and then it did. The feeling that someone was lying, even when their words were perfect. The dreams that weren't dreams at all, but messages. You weren't taught this. You were wired this way. And the world has tried desperately to make you forget, to get you to doubt, to drown you in noise so the sacred signal would fade. But even in your lowest moments, even when the world laughed or called you broken, you still heard something faint, something persistent, something that refused to leave. That was the tone. That was the divine pulse. That was the sound of your assignment finding you. You are not ordinary. You are not late. You are not imagining things. ... Responding. You're responding to a vibration that was planted in your soul long before this body, long before this name, long before the world convinced you to shrink. And now, you're waking up. That's why you're here. That's why you clicked. That's why your hands are tingling as you trace the M with your eyes and touch the crescent beneath it with new awareness. You're not just a person. You are a signal tower for spiritual truth. And this channel, this moment is your reflection. You've likely felt out of place your entire life. You've wondered why your emotions seem to burn hotter than others, why you can't tolerate lies, why you leave certain conversations feeling drained, even if no one said anything wrong. It's because you are not just a body. You are a frequency holder. You tune rooms. You alter energy. This is why you've had to walk alone, why you've been betrayed by people who said they loved you, why your deepest connections seemed to vanish weren't being abandoned. You were being aligned. Because certain people cannot go where you're headed. Their vibration does not match the mission assigned to your soul. And the more you cling to what is expired, the louder the ringing becomes. Because the tone is not just an alert, it's a navigation tool. It leads you away from what dims you and toward what ignites you. This is why your dreams are changing, why your sleep has become disrupted, why time itself feels different. You are not crazy. You are not unstable. You are activating. You're stepping into the next layer of your mission, and your palms have been waiting for this day. That M, it stands for more than mission. It is the mirror of memory, the moment your soul touched the divine before entering this world. The promise you made to bring truth through your body, even if no one else understood it. And the crescent moon, it is the eye in the night, the light when all else fades. It marks you as a carrier, hidden. You are not just sensitive, you are selectively receptive to the whispers others miss. So if the ringing has increased, if the synchronicities won't stop, if the number codes are chasing you, then your time of delay is over. Let this moment serve as your spiritual interruption. Not the kind that demands your attention with fear, but the kind that whispers from within until your bones cannot stay silent. You are not simply here to awaken. You are here to awaken others. And that begins when you stop shrinking around your gifts, when you stop waiting for permission, when you accept the marks on your palm, not as curiosity, but as contract. The M is your mission, the crescent is your light, and together they form a key to a door you are meant to open. This is your sacred intersection, the point where message meets memory, where channel meets calling, where body meets blueprint. You are here not just to hear this, you are here to respond. Mirror, reflecting you back to yourself. Before we go deeper, let me pause and ask something, not as a creator, but as a person. If what you've heard so far touched something real inside you, not just entertained you, but echoed something you couldn't name, then take a breath and respond in kind. Subscribe not out of obligation, but out of alignment. This space wasn't built for entertainment. It was built as a gathering ground for the misread, the misjudged, the marked. For those whose hands carry spiritual geometry and whose hearts beat to rhythms the world doesn't understand. Subscribing isn't about supporting a channel. It's about marking this space as your own. And while you're here, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what have your hands whispered to you? Have you felt this tone, these inner nudges, these subtle but relentless pushes, that life isn't random, that you aren't random? Share with us. This is your sanctuary to speak the unspoken. Your voice, here, of the vibration. Your message could be the confirmation someone else has begged the universe to hear. Now, come closer. Let's continue. The marks on your palms are not decoration. They are design. When the divine prepared souls for this lifetime, souls who would be tasked with decoding shadows and unearthing forgotten truths, these individuals weren't just chosen, they were inscribed, embedded with sacred architecture so that when the time came, their very bodies would remember. You are one of them. The M on your palm is not a coincidence. It is a convergence point where message meets mission. It shows up in those born to unravel deception with presence alone, in those whose voice, even when soft, disrupts falsehood, in those who cannot walk into a room without the atmosphere adjusting. Why? Because your energy doesn't take up space. It reclaims it. And beneath that M, often hidden at first, faint, as if waiting for the right moment, rests the crescent moon. But ordinary curve. This is the silent crown of the hidden seer. It appears in those who carry what I call quiet royalty. Wisdom earned in former lives, pain transmuted into insight, light that shines not to be seen, but to reveal what's been hidden. Together, these marks do more than identify you. They equip you. They shape your body into a vessel capable of carrying ancient memory, divine downloads, and spiritual resilience most cannot comprehend. And that's why you've suffered. That's why you've been misunderstood. Why no matter how kind or giving or humble you were, someone always found a reason to call you too much or not enough. Let me tell you something no one else probably did. They felt your weight. They just didn't know how to carry it. And still, through heartbreak, through isolation, through the long nights where you questioned if your softness was a flaw you endured, you adapted. But now you're being called to stop adapting and start activating. Your hand, marked. They are coded. And that ringing, that high-pitched vibration that returns when you least expect it, it is the password. Each time it comes, it unlocks a layer of memory, of energy, of spiritual clarity. And every time you ignore it, life gets louder. The dreams get stranger. The coincidences become impossible to deny. The reason is simple. Your mission is waking up, and your soul refuses to hit snooze anymore. Have you ever wondered why some people seek your guidance, but resent your insight? Why you've been the one others go to in chaos, but the last they celebrate in peace? It's not personal, it's positional. Those with the M and crescent moon marks are often positioned as energetic mirrors. You reflect back to people the truth they are avoiding. You stir up clarity in those trying to live in confusion. And that makes you magnetic, but also misunderstood. Here's the truth. You were not meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be different, right ones. And the reason you're still watching this, still feeling something stir in the marrow of your bones, is because you are being recognized now not by society, but by spirit. The journey you've lived has not been accidental. You've been through the exact traumas that would refine your perception. You've walked through betrayals that forced you to hear your own intuition louder than anyone else's voice. You've endured silence so long, it became language. This is not punishment, it's preparation. You were being forged. The markings on your palms, they were not given to you after the fire. They were placed there before so that when the fire came, you would remember your identity when all else burned away. The crescent moon appears often in sacred texts, carvings, and seals throughout history. It has always been a symbol of hidden light, of guidance when the world goes dark. That same symbol, when found on your hand, is a divine reminder you carry. Midnight hour. You are the one who sees when others can't, the one who feels when others are numb, the one who receives the signal when others think it's static. This is the weight of being chosen, not in ego, but in assignment. And that's why the ringing won't stop. It's not that something's wrong with your hearing. It's that something is right with your reception. You are hearing a language that's not made of words, a frequency that wasn't meant for the ears, but for the soul. This is why you feel it before events unfold, why your dreams become premonitions, why you sometimes just know without needing proof. You are spiritually equipped to read vibration. Your palms, those sacred landscapes, carry more than skin. They carry reminders, and when the M and the crescent appear together, a new layer is unlocked, one that cannot be taught in books or copied by imitation. It is lived, it is suffered, and then it is awakened. So if your life has felt strange, if your bod more sensitive to places, people, and even food, if you cry without reason, laugh in the middle of grief, feel energy in silence, that's not disorder, that's alignment. You're shifting, and your palms are pulsing with memory. Some truths don't arrive in books or voices. They rise in stillness. They surface in trembling hands, sleepless nights, or sudden tears with no story to explain them. And sometimes, they arrive in a tone Baha'i, inexplicable vibration in your ear, cutting across the noise of the world to whisper a memory that didn't come from this lifetime. You didn't come here to learn that tone. You came here to remember it, because before your first breath in this life, you'd already heard it. Before your name was given, your palms were already marked, and before your body formed, your mission had already been sealed in vibration. That's what the ringing is. It's not a symptom. It's not a glitch. It's not even about sound. It's a summons. We're embedded with spiritual technology before memory began, a call to the souls who carry more than just fingerprints, who carry frequency prints. If your palm holds the M and the perfect crescent, you already know this. Because nothing in your life has ever been ordinary. Even your pain had pattern. Even your loneliness had timing. Even your confusion was shaped like a key, forged to unlock something no one around you could explain. That's why you've never truly belonged. Not because you are broken, but because you were born ahead of your environment. You are the voice they didn't know they needed. The presence that others feel but can't describe. And that feeling you get when you look at your hands, it's not ego, it's evidence. Evidence that the design of your soul was not random, not vague, not theoretical. It was intentional. And your palms are the receivers of vision, of energy, of instruction. Think about it. Why do your dreams feel like timelines? W. Messages between words. Why do you sense things before they appear? It's because the markings on your hands are connected to memory in the ether. Memory that didn't start here. The letter M and the crescent moon were not invented by mystics or cultures. They were simply recognized. These marks have been found carved into ancient temples, stitched into sacred robes, buried in sand-covered scrolls, encrypted in symbols across civilizations that never met. Why? Because the chosen were scattered, but their signal was unified. And now, in a time of noise and digital chaos, the vibration returns. And it is not sent to the masses. It is coded, specific, weighted. It lands in your ears because your palms told the universe where to find you. The ringing isn't just a spiritual phenomenon. It's a locator. Your soul, activated by these tones, begins to rearrange your inner world. That's why the people around you are shifting. Why the environments that once felt familiar are. Why you crave solitude, as if the noise is an intruder. You're not isolating. You're tuning. Chosen ones don't rise through company. They rise through compression. And your compression began long before anyone noticed you. The losses, the betrayals, the strange delays, they weren't punishments. They were calibrations. They were forging your inner system so you could carry frequencies too refined for the average environment. You were not delayed. You were protected. There is a sacred principle few understand. The more powerful the vessel, the longer the preparation. While others moved fast, you moved deep. While others built for speed, you were being shaped for stability. That's why your path took time. Not because you were forgotten, because you were being fortified. The M on your palm is not just a spiritual initial. It represents messenger, mirror, mystic, and maker of the invisible visible. It often appears in those whose words carry weight, not through vibration. In those who don't need to prove truth because their presence confirms it. And the crescent? It's not just a symbol of the moon. It is the arc of initiation. It marks those who carry light that doesn't blind, but guides. These are the ones who shine in shadow, the ones who were never meant to lead by dominance, but by discernment. When found together, these two symbols are a sacred duality. The M is the frequency. The crescent is the filter. Together, they form the pathway of divine translation, receiving sacred energy and distributing it in digestible doses to a world still recovering from spiritual famine. You are a translator of the unseen. Your life hasn't made sense because you're not living a linear story. You're living a layered one, a story that started before the first memory you can recall and continues through dreams, flashes, sensations that can't be explained by science or psychology. Have you noticed that when you speak, others cry, the atmosphere shifts, that when you walk away from places or people, things begin to unravel? You didn't cast a spell, you carry a charge. Your very presence awakens dormant energy. You destabilize what isn't aligned. You activate what was asleep. And you were never taught this because you didn't need to be. You were born with it. And now, it's returning. The veil is lifting. The distractions are dissolving. And you are beginning to see what you've always felt. That the ringing in your ears was never a condition. It was a conditioner preparing you to receive more, to hold more, to become the bridge between realms, between reason and revelation. This is why you've been hearing tones during sleep, why your dreams have become layered with faces you've never met in this life, but feel like family, why every full moon presses energy into your skin like a fingerprint from another realm. Because you are not meant to ascend. You are meant to leaving the world. This is about seeing it clearly, maybe for the first time. Chosen ones are not escapists. They are embodiers. You are here to walk through storms with divine awareness, to endure shadow without becoming it. You carry light not to be seen, but to see. Let's pause here. Bring your palms together slowly, not in prayer, but in recognition. Trace the M. Feel the lines. Touch the crescent. Close your eyes. There's something deeper than understanding that lives in this moment. Something no word can articulate. Something only your soul can interpret. That's the real signal. That's what all the noise was trying to hide. And now you found it.